Okay, time for some more fun. So we've been dividing decimals by whole numbers, and now we're going to be moving into dividing decimals by decimals. Okay, so what that means is we're going to have a new key idea here that you got to make sure you write down. And what it says here is that we multiply the divisor. So in our example, the divisor is 1.2, and the dividend by a power of 10 to make the divisor a whole number. Okay, 1.2 is not a whole number right now. We need to change it into one. As you can see over here, it becomes one when we multiply it by a power of 10. Okay, then place the decimal point in the quotient and divide as you would with whole numbers. Okay, now as you can see here, right here, we multiplied 1.2 by 10, and whatever we do to the divisor, we have to do to the dividend also, which is why you see right here the decimal place move over one spot. Okay, so then when you get over here and you see decimal places are in the right spot, our 12 is a whole number, we follow the same rule of placing the decimal point above the decimal point in the dividend of 45.6. Okay, now this is where we're going to move down a little bit here, and we're going to write the key idea for dividing decimals by decimals. Okay, now make sure that you pause the video if you need to make sure that you have written the entire sentence spelled correctly in here. Okay, here we go. So you multiply the divisor and the dividend by a 10 to make the divisor a whole number. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff, some examples. Okay, so if we take a look at 18.2 divided by 1.4. So let's set that up. We've got 18.2. Make sure you get that decimal in there. Okay, we have 1.4. Again, make sure you have the decimal. Now 1.4 is not a whole number. We need to move that over, the decimal over to here. And we do that by multiplying 1.4 by 10, and that equals 14. Okay, we do the same thing to our 18.2 and multiply by 10, and we can simply move our decimal over one spot, one place value, and then again our decimal goes straight up. Okay, 14, how many groups of 14 go into 18? And we say 18 because, well, 14 does not go into 1. It is too big, so we have to look for the next number. Grab that 18. 14 goes into 18 how many times? Well, only one group of 14 fits into 18. So there's our 1, 18, subtract 14 is 4. Are we done? Nope. We got to bring that 2 down. And that makes 42. And now we have to look at how many groups of 14 go into 42. Okay, this is a chance for you to use your multiplication chart. And you find 42, and you find 14, and then you find what number did you multiply by 14 to get 42. Well, 3 groups of 14 go into 42. And we're lucky in that 14 times 3 is exactly 42. And we subtract, we have 0. There's no more numbers up here to pull down, so we are done. Our answer is 13. Now we could put a 0 right here if we needed to, if we wanted to, but we don't have to. 13.5 28.0 or 13 is a great answer. So let's slide over here now. Now, this one gets a little trickier, right? So, let's set this up. We've got 0.273 divided 0.39. Oh, we have two place value places that we need to move this decimal over by. So, we would actually be multiplying it by the more than just 10, because we have to move it over two place values. So, it would be 0.39 times 100, because there's our two zeros, our two place values that we want to move it over. Okay, and that would equal 39. So we're going to move that over 1, 2, and whatever we do to our divisor, we do to our dividend, 1, 2, and then this is where your decimal goes straight up. And if we want to rewrite this to make it a little prettier, a little bit easier to read, we could say, okay, 27.3 divided by 39. Now, does 39 go into 2? Nope. Does not. Does it go into 27? No, it does not. So let's check. This is where your decimal goes up. How many times does 39 go into 273? This is where you have to do some math. You're going to have to multiply. You're going to have to do some guessing and check. Well, if we think 39, is it close to 40? Yeah, so we could guess. Okay, 40 goes into 200 5 times. So we could multiply 39 by 5, see what that gets us. Probably not enough. And so if we look at 39, we're going to eventually figure out that 39 goes into 273 7 times. 39 times 7 is 273, and we get 0. Now, going back to what I said about guessing and checking, we could say 39, we know it's close to 40, right? It's one number away from 40, and we know that, well, 40 goes into 200 5 times, and 40 times 2 is 80. So look, 73 is smaller than 80, so it must be maybe 6 times. We could multiply by that to guess. 9 times 6 is 54. 3 times 6 is 18, plus that 5 is 234. Now we know that it's still too small. Now we could multiply it by 7, or we could also just add 39 here just to do a guess and check and know that that would be our 6th, or our 7th rather. So 4 plus 9 is 13. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Oh, and there's our 273. So look at that. That's how we figured that one out. Okay. Next example. Make sure you write these down. Okay. 28.7 divided by 2.4. Here we go. 28.7 divided by 2.4. Okay, well, we got to multiply that 2.4 by a power of 10. In this case, multiplying it just by 10 is all we have to do to move that over. One place, right? Equals 24. And when we move the decimal over on the divisor, we got to do the same thing over here in our dividend. Move it to here, and then go up. There we go. Well, let's see here. 24 goes into 2. Oh, no, it doesn't. 24 goes into 28. Yes, it does. How many groups of 24 fit into 28? Well, just one. So then we put our 24 right here, because 24 times that 1 equals 24. We subtract 8 minus 4 equals 4. 2 minus 2 equals 0. Okay, so let's bring our 7 down because we still have more work to do. And now we divide 47 by 24. How many groups of 24 go into 47? Just one. So we subtract again. 7 minus 4 is 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. And we have 23 left over. Oh, but look, we have nothing left up here. But we had that decimal right there, so we can add a 0 there to bring down. Okay? So now we make that 230. Wow, how many groups of 24 go into 230? This is where we're going to do similar to what we did before of guessing and checking and multiplying, and we know that 24 goes into 230 9 times. 24 times 9 is 216. We'll subtract that. 10 minus 4 is, 10 minus 6 is 4. This is a 2 now because we borrowed from it. That 210 subtract 110 is 110, and we get 0 here. And we still have a remainder. So again, we got to bring down a 0, make it 140. 140, how many groups of 24 go into 140? 5 groups. 24 times 5 equals 120. Gotta make some more space real quick. And we subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 minus 0 is 0. Now, we also, let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Come on, there we go. Now, bring down another 0 because we still have some more left over, right? There's our 0. 200. 24 goes into 200. How many times? 8 times. 24 times 8 is 192. Gotta borrow, that becomes a 10. Oh, we still gotta borrow from it, so it becomes a 9. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 9 is 0. That was a 1. It was a 0. Now we bring down another 0. And that becomes 80. How many times is 24 go into 80? 3 times. 24 times 3 is 72. Borrow. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 7 is 0. And we have 8 again. And this is where we would just end up repeating ourselves forever and ever as that becomes 80 again. So we can just put a little line over here for infinity. For our answer is going to be 11.9583 continuous. Okay. So now, let's check out another example. And we will go down to, try and scroll out here. Too much. We're going to skip D and go on to the next slide. Okay. Now this one right here is the one I really wanted to get into, where we are inserting decimals in the dividend and quotient, number 6 right here, okay? So, 2.45 divided by 0.007. 2.45 divided by 0.007. 0.007. Now in this point, we need to move the decimal place over 3 places, okay? So what that means is we're going to be multiplying 0.007 by 1,000 to move it over that many places to make it 7, right? Whatever we do to the divisor, we do to the dividend. So we go 1, 2, oh no, we don't have another spot. Well, this is where we insert that 0 right here. So now, what we have is, let me clean this up a little bit here for you, 7 and 2,450. So, 7 goes into 24. How many times? How many groups of 7? 3, 21. 4 minus 3 is, 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down our 5. That makes 35. 7 goes into 35 5 times. That becomes 35. We subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down our last number, which is 0. Remember our decimals right here, and it's going to lift right up there, right? 7 goes into 0 how many times? Oh, it's too small. 0 times. 0 minus 0 is 0. There we go. So, next one. Oops, erase that. Move this up. This is a real life application right here, okay? So, we're looking at how many times more cellular phone subscribers were there in 2011 than in 1991. Round to the nearest whole number. So, as you can see right here, we've got 331.59. Divide that by 7.6. Oh, we got to turn that 7.6 into a whole number, so we got to multiply it by a power of 10, which would be 10 to move that over 1. Make it 76. 76. Got to move that one over 1. And so now it's going to be, clean it up again, 3,315, and there's our decimal, 9. Move that decimal up, divided by 76. Okay. So, now, we look at, does 76 go into 3? No. Does it go into 33? No. Does it go into 331? Yes. How many groups of 76 go into 331? 4 groups. Okay, so 76 times 4 is 304. We subtract. 11 minus 4 is 7. That became a 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down our 5. 275 divided by 76. How many groups go in there? 3. There's our 3. 76 times 3 is 228. We subtract. 15 minus 8 is 7. 6 minus 2 is 4. 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down our 9. 479 divided by 76 is, well, we know that 6 groups of 76 go into 479. We get 456. 9 minus 6 is 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. Now, we could keep dividing here, but what the directions said right here were to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so we've got 43.6 and some leftovers. Well, 0.6 is going to be closer to 44 than it is going to be to 43. So when we round up, our answer, our whole number, is 44. Okay, so now on your own, divide the next two numbers. 36.4 divided by 2 and 9.6 divided by 1.2.